Welcome to another episode of Historians in Cars Getting Coffee. We've had comments from some of you that we haven't had enough coffee, but damn it, we'll have as much coffee or as little coffee as we want.
And unfortunately today we are all out of coffee, so that's difficult.
Nevertheless, we have just been kayaking in the wake of what I think has been a very successful conference.
Yeah.
So Warren, the conference, for anybody who hasn't been gripped to every single episode so far, what was the conference called?
So the conference was called Over There: The Story of Tennessee in the Second World War and Her Allies. And it worked as a sort of knowledge exchange about the type of history we do in East Tennessee with the type of history in Britain, and looking sort of broadly at the overlap between the two. And I think it's been a very successful conference. I think everyone had a great time. It was a fully booked house, and it was great.
So what was your personal highlight of the conference?
Well, always, Richard, hearing you speak, always is the highlight.
Yeah, you don't need to go to a conference for that.
That's true. Well, you know, we had Alan with us coming back from
Alan
Nashville.
Packwood.
Yes,
Alan Packwood, the director
Packwood.
of the Churchill Archive Centre.
And his talk,
Other Allens are available.
that we can find other Allens, yeah. But Alan Packwood's talk, I thought, was remarkable. I think it's actually, honestly, one of the best talks he's given.
Yeah.
And you know, in particular, the thing that I really thought he did about Churchill and D-Day was really work to humanize Churchill and to show that a lot of the decision-making process, you know, to remove and strip away that kind of retroactive thing that all historians suffer from. You know?
Yeah, the looking in the rearview mirror.
Right,
point,
it's very easy to be like, well, obviously this thing will happen. Well, it wasn't obvious at the time, and I think that his effective use of that, and he sort of had kind of 8 major points in his talk, and the fact that he returned to that did actually work to humanize Churchill and to show how difficult it really was on the day and how stressful it must have been leading up to it. And I thought that was really remarkable.
Absolutely.
What about you? What was your favorite moment?
Well, I maybe in so many great speakers actually, and I was very impressed by the range of different historical organizations and historians that you have here in Tennessee. But I suppose just for the sheer, I really didn't know that, or giving me a totally new perspective on something. Last night after dinner we had a presentation. I can remember that her first name was Kelly McGill, who did a frankly brilliant presentation on the fascinating story of the army maneuvers, the war games, or as she put it, the kind of laboratory of war that was carried out in 1941 to 1943 here in Tennessee, including some moving stories, some tragic stories of sort of innocent bystanders, civilians who lost their lives, including a few children. Terrible.
Well, and I would just say I was shocked because I didn't know it either, and I'm from Tennessee and I'm a World War II guy. I did know that there was a prisoner of war camp over in Crossville as you're moving towards Nashville, but I had no idea. The sum was about 850,000 troops were bivouacked across Middle Tennessee working on these maneuvers, and I just thought, I agree with you, it was completely remarkable. I had no idea. And one of the things, what I think she's done that's brilliant about that is it's not just the military maneuvers that she's focusing on. The sort of social issues around it, in particular around race.
Yes. And remembering, of course, that the U.S. Army was segregated, and so
that's right.
You had African American units coming out totally separately.
And also the sort of gender history around the way women were treated, and the sort of it's really remarkable, and also quite damning stuff the way women were treated around these things, around the spread of venereal diseases and so forth.
And it gives me, since I've been here in Tennessee, every time we stop, every time we go to a garage, there's a sign that says no loitering. Loitering is looked down on heavily in Tennessee. Don't come here to loiter, people. But there is a history to this no loitering, which was, a lot of it, some of it at any rate, was targeted at women who were suspected of being prostitutes just by virtue maybe of going for dinner by themselves or just loitering.
Happening to be somewhere.
So, that was very powerful. But the other thing that was also powerful was the testimonies which Kelly had gathered from a generation clearly now, passing away, which she spoke movingly about her experience of getting to know people and making friends with them, and then all of them dying really quite in rapid succession. So I don't know, that I say was out of a very a series of high points. That was the highest high point.
I think so too. And also, we mentioned Jack Neely in one of the earlier episodes. I just want to say, I knew about Knoxville on the home front, but the remarkable detail, almost granular detail he went into, talking about specific people and the role they played in the war effort was remarkable. I mean, just the depth there. And of course, Ray Smith talked about Oak Ridge, which is really interesting, and we're hoping maybe we can build more conferences around that in the future. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned, people.